Okay, well, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. My name is Pattie Simone, and I bill myself today as a digital strategist and a PR person. I've been an entrepreneur since 1988. I had a retail store. I've been in sales and customer service, and as time has evolved and I've seen what was going on with the internet, I basically got into doing that. Started writing as a journalist in 2002, so I'm a credentialed journalist with the New York Press Club. I produced hundreds and hundreds of videos. I had a tech startup that was not funded, but along the way met some amazing people and was afforded the opportunity to interview a lot of thought leaders that you might see in the papers or on television being interviewed, including Jeffrey Hazlett, the former CMO of Eastman Kodak, Seth Godin, who's one of the people that's been acknowledged as a marketing guru, Nicole Miller, so a wide swath of people, both from feature editorial writing and also business trends reporting. So anyway, today I decided that it would be a good idea to give you a little overview and just some of my ideas about what's going on in the communications world, because there's still a lot of folks that are not participating as they could. So I guess today, to start off with, I'll ask a question of who is doing any kind of live tweeting or posting on Facebook?
Who's doing
what? Excellent.
I have 3 Twitter accounts, actually.
No, but I'm saying right now.
Oh, right this second?
Yeah.
Right now.
I forgot my phone.
Do I have something programmed that goes out continuously?
Well, I'm saying in terms of being at an event and you're, sort of documenting and reporting and tweeting while you're at an event. I asked this question a few weeks ago at the Mahwah Regional Chamber. We had an annual luncheon where we get a little over 200 people, and not one hand went up in the whole room. So we're actually in the process of doing a social media series. We do webinars twice a month, and then we're having a social media day, June 30th, which I hope all of you will attend, where we're going to have people, possibly myself included, giving workshops, and there'll be panels, and it'll be really an immersive day all about new communications vehicles that are out there that many people are still, trying to work out how to adapt, figure out where it has a place in their life and in their business. So anyway, to start off with, I thought I'd show you what I think is a very good example of communications, and again, it's visual, so that's
somebody's
that's
ear.
You
see that?
This was produced by 2 Australian sisters that are in business together. One is based in the United States, and one is based in Australia, and I'll just let us do the talking. Now, hopefully, yeah. So that's a pretty short presentation, but they get their point across, and I decided to show you something like this because it is more of the norm, where it hasn't gone viral, but it was very effective for these people. And they did very well with getting orders, with getting attention, with explaining who they were in less than 40 seconds with that this is what they produce is something else that people can wear that's more stylish and fashionable than sneakers. And again, it's obviously for women, it's based for a women's market. But again, it's just about communicating something in a very short span of time, and also, in this particular case, I thought it was an engaging way. So, I guess the biggest question to ask about communications is to ask of yourself, when you think about it, what are people doing? What communication tools in a lot of different spaces and a lot of different demographics are people using? Because You know, it is all about expectations, right? When it was the 20s and the 30s and even the 40s, everybody was huddled around the radio, and that was the new cool, that was the way to get information. Prior to that, obviously, it was newspapers. As time evolved, obviously we got into television, and, famously the story goes that all the people that were early adapters to television really secured their place in the marketplace for their particular sector because they were early adapters. And Seth Godin has pointed this out in several of his presentations, and it just stands to reason. We've already gone through that revolution, that now the internet, and more importantly, something as small as this, has become a primary tool in our communication. So anyway, let's go to the next one. So even farmers are going social. There's people that are doing periscopes, and if you haven't heard what Periscope is, it's live video streaming. And you can basically take your phone or your iPad, and I don't see many people doing it with their laptop. It's usually a phone.
This is all done at home.
Yes, but something you should know about. Periscope is something that's live video streaming, and it's just, you are a citizen journalist. You're reporting on. You're showing that you're at some place. And more importantly, if you're not in front of the camera and you don't want to be in front of the camera and all the people hear is your voice, that's okay, because it's about getting in front of people, establishing your expertise. Number one, it's brand awareness, right? So that they know who you are. Number two is they find out a little bit about, wow, what does this person know about that's relating to the business that you're in? And then number three is engendering comfort before that person makes a decision to open their wallet and do business with you. So anyway, the farmers are getting this, and they're going social. And they're doing that a lot on Pinterest as well, which is, again, a very visual medium, so it engages. They're showing their beautiful produce. They're tweeting live that the peaches have just been picked, come and get them, or that they're opened for peach picking, that kind of thing. Families included are texting. They're using Facebook instant messaging. They're messaging in other ways too, and of course, if there's any kind of distance involved, more and more people are Skyping, and there's no excuse if you're not. If my 90-year-old mother, sorry mom, can do it, if my 90-year-old mother can be Skyping, anyone can. And also there's more people that are working remotely. And this is going to be, again, I wouldn't call it an emerging trend. It is something that is happening more and more, that companies are trying to decrease their costs. They're closing offices per se, not renting as much space because they don't need to, because people can work remotely. And it's not a question of seeing a body in a chair anymore. If you've got the right employees, you're not worried about how long they're working. You're worried about is the work getting done, and you can see if the work's getting done. So as I mentioned, we're live streaming, and through Periscope, which if you haven't checked it out, you absolutely should. You can be in Dubai and watch somebody scan the skyline, and then hop from Dubai into an Irish meadow, and you're walking with someone who's going into the ruins of a church. And then from there, you're hopping over to Paris, and someone's in the Louvre, and they're walking through and showing you the Mona Lisa. And it's all live, and it's all done by citizen journalists that are going around and just either opening their lives up to you, which is not something that I personally do, but there's a lot of people that are fine with that. And there's a lady, God knows, I hope she doesn't get into an accident. She's on a British roadway, and she's got her phone hooked up like this, and she's live streaming on Periscope as she's driving down the road. And when you do this, you have messages that are coming up that you can actually read from people all over the world saying, hi, hello from Cincinnati, and hello from Peru, and there's exchanges of communication going back and forth that the person who's doing the video stream is able to communicate with them and say, oh, hey, Joe, yes, I've seen you on here before, and how's it going? How's the weather in Peru? And here you are talking with someone that you don't know, but you're forging a human connection with them. And you're also, obviously, it's being used as an educational tool as well. So even myself and Cindy, I got her to do it, we're taking selfies. Where a lot of people are obsessed with this all the time, but more and more folks are just wanting to document where they are with who they are with at a certain moment in time. And it's something that they do end up sharing on Facebook and Twitter. From a business perspective, it gives more personality to the brand. It gives more insight to the person in the way in which you engage, in the way in which you choose to communicate. And again, it's all about, with doing that, you're getting yourself in front of the audiences that you want to get in front of and hopefully engendering that comfort. So, of course, live events like this still have plenty of value. So I go to an event in San Francisco and it's called TwitterCon, and I'm interviewing the person who is the founder of Foursquare, which if you're not familiar with that, that's an app that people check in, and it started out mostly for restaurants, that restaurants could give people badges and award them for how many times they checked in when they were at their restaurant. They could offer specials, etc. And so I'm interviewing the guy, Dennis, who is the founder of that, and I'm taping it, of course, and then, again, asking him about things that it may not seem to you on the face of it might be pertinent or have anything to do with what you're doing in your life, but in fact it is. All these apps and these different tools and these ways of engaging are affecting behavior. And where you might not be involved in that behavior, the broader spectrum of people in the world are. And it's becoming more and more not an unusual thing, but the norm. And at these live events, as I said, I'm engaging with him, I'm talking with him, and there's a lot of value within that. At the time, I was looking to get funding for my tech startup, to get my name of my brand, Women Centric, out there by going to these live events. And the prep for that is, I might be following someone on Twitter and engaging with them on Twitter, and then all of a sudden I find out that they're going to be at that event, and then we actually end up meeting. So it's someone from Duluth who I've been talking with, or that we share different opinions about different things, or I'm learning things about reading their blog, and then we meet up as a result of a live event. So stats, there's always stats. We have a worldwide population over 7 billion. And out of that worldwide population, a good almost half, 3.17 billion people are on the internet all the time. 2.3 billion are active social media users, and that number is growing daily, exponentially. So that folks that never dip their toe in are starting to. And they're starting to see that even my mother will go on to Facebook and she will be able to see what her grandchildren are doing by what they're posting on Facebook. So it's a way for people to stay connected in ways that we could not even imagine 10 years ago. Again, if you remove yourself from what you personally do, but you're looking at what other people are doing, that's what's important. And then maybe you can participate in it. Maybe you can benefit from it. 1.65 billion are active social media accounts globally. And again, that number is growing exponentially every day. I could have, put out 50 stats, but I just handpicked a few, and these numbers are staggering. If you think about where we were just 10 years ago and where we are today, and how different things are. I remember distinctly that I was not in the loop at the time when I first heard that cell phone cameras were coming out. On your phone, there was going to be a camera. Who would need that? And there I am shopping in Boston, and my son is not able to be there, and he needed a certain pair of pants, and da-da-da-da, and there's my daughter taking out her phone and going, well, I'll just snap a picture of it, and I'll text it to him, and boom, we had the answer. Is this the kind of pants you were looking for? And I was like, okay, I'm wrong. I could tell right there. That one event, I could tell I was wrong. That was in 2006. In 2008, I'm in South Carolina in front of a joint a group of people that is a medical track and an entrepreneurial track, and I'm giving the keynote to the entrepreneurial people, and it was about technology. And so there I am telling them that the thing at the moment then was this. This was the emerging trend. This was something that we were going to be more and more using, relying on to tell us where to go, to tell us where things were, to communicate in ways that we had not expected, and also for advertisers to reach people in ways that they had never been reached before. And in that audience, which was a good 300 people, there were a handful that raised their hands when I said, who's live tweeting at this event? And it was definitely not in the medical sector, it was in the entrepreneurial sector, who again were more apt to be early adopters at that time. Here I thought was an amazing stat that I encountered. 55 to 64-year-olds are twice as likely to engage with branded content than people who are 28 or younger. To me, that stat is the inverse of what I would have thought it would have been. So again, it's consumer behavior is changing, and if someone recognizes a brand and you know, they're in a certain age group, again, with the older age group, they're twice as likely to interact with that and to respond to it. It's interesting stats. And all you have to do is, and I think I have a slide about it, is Google it. If you have a question about something, Google it. You would be so surprised what comes up. So the top 3 content marketing tactics, and this is a new phrase if you haven't heard it, the newest lingo is content marketing. And basically all that means is that you're using valuable editorial to get in front of people. And so what do I mean by that? We don't have to wait for the New York Times to call us anymore. We are our own publishers. We have an opportunity like never before to get in front of the people that we want. If we're still in business, and even if we're not in business, if we have an opinion and it's political, I don't want to raise any ire here, but if you have an opinion and you want to get it out there, a blog is an excellent way of doing that. And you can blog about whatever it is, gardening, knitting, any kind of human interest that you have, any passion or pursuit, you can blog about it and connect with other people who are like-minded, learn from those people, help people who are looking for answers and solutions. From a business perspective, it's just as valuable, and all of that is content. So the tactics that people are using, and I don't know why, but the percent sign wasn't working here. So it's supposed to be 65% is blogging, 64% social media, 64% case studies. People are using these top tactics to get in front of the audiences that they want to ultimately do business with. So for myself, I want to get more speaking engagements. I want to get paid by corporations to come in and deal with marketing departments and help train them and bring them up to speed on some of these digital strategies, on the methodologies, on success stories and case studies. Because why reinvent the wheel? If you can duplicate what JetBlue is doing, or what the people at Delta are doing, or what Matthew Shadbolt at the time was doing in Corcoran real estate, he was using Foursquare to get in front of people who were looking for restaurants while they were looking for real estate. So it's from that super high level thinking, where are people? What are they doing? How can I get my company's name in front of them where they're surfing? And that's a very, very strategic way of doing things. And Foursquare had just come out. People didn't even know what it was. Most people weren't even checking in. What are you talking about? You're checking in. But for the folks that were using it, They were able to get Corcoran's name in the thread by posting valuable information, tips about neighborhoods. And who posted the tip? They weren't overtly saying, we sell real estate. They were just saying, if you're in the Boerum Heights section of Brooklyn, don't miss checking out this particular restaurant. And who was it posted by? Corcoran. Brilliant. Brilliant. So if you think about how you can be helpful and using content in various spaces that is going to be helpful to the people that you want to be helpful to, that's a good thing. So when I Googled myself, you know, I wasn't able to get the entire thing, but I Googled literally Snapchat Pattie Simone, because I have been trying to understand Snapchat. Sorry guys. It's 10 seconds of video. That's it. That's all you can do, is you can Snapchat 10 seconds of video. It's alive for 24 hours and it disappears. When you Snapchat it in one day, like maybe 4 or 5 times, the app pieces all of those things together and it creates what's a story. So in any event, I just opened an account. I haven't really used it yet. I'm looking at what other people are doing. I'm still trying to figure out, do I want to do this or not? Not sure. But what comes up is amazing because it has nothing to do with Snapchat at all. So I really encourage you, Google your name. Google it in context with other things. Google the name of your business. Find out what's out there because you can't possibly do damage control or address anything that you don't know about. It's surprising what comes up. So first came up women-centric. Well, that makes sense because I've had that online since 2005. So I have longevity, and even though I don't have the 1,500 profiles from 30 countries that I used to when I was trying to make it to be another LinkedIn, Google still loves me because I have longevity online and because I also have hundreds of videos that are posted that are you know, pointing to that. I also have my articles from Entrepreneur. When I was writing in entrepreneur.com, it's up there, and that's a long time ago. So it's really interesting how Google weights different things. And again, it's just valuable to know what's going on. Oh, and the other reason why I did this is I posted a comment about oatmeal because I love oatmeal. And I found that when I was on Facebook, someone had posted something about a delicious recipe. I clicked on the recipe, I liked it, I posted a comment on the recipe, and when you Google Snapchat Pattie Simone, that comment that I posted on March 11th, 2014 is one of the things that comes up. You know, it's just amazing, and it is, that's another way of getting your brand in front of people. If you have an interest in photography or again, anything, and you post comments, you can help get your name and your brand's name in front of a different audience. And yes, this is happening globally. It's not just in certain areas. People in all different remote areas around the world, due to grants from Microsoft and all other kinds of, and Facebook and a lot of other philanthropists are making the internet accessible to even the most remote locations. And people are learning and getting educated and able to watch videos that are educational from that standpoint. And what helps people find everything is using keywords that make sense to what you're talking about. So when you're writing an article about whatever it is, fill in the blanks, anybody who's looking for information about that, that's being cataloged by Google all the time. And that's how they're going to find you if you're writing something that's meaningful, again, specific to your business or your pursuit, your personal interests. So you want to geo-target your messages because even a pizzeria that's local, they might say, well, I don't need to have billions of people looking at my stuff. You're right, but Google doesn't care about that. So how you geo-target it is by putting that you're in Midland Park or you're in Wyckoff, and you put that in the first sentence of what you're doing. And that helps people find you. So great content, attracts, oh goodness, you can tell I did this really late last night with more tea. Attracts, engages, and produces results. Because again, it's about awareness, it's about, you know, forging a relationship, creating a dialogue, and then having that dialogue lead to comfort, and comfort is, hey, let's do business together. So some of the trends are basically tomorrow is here. You know, we think about what's happening in the future. Again, more and more power is going to be packed into smaller things. And more connectivity and this live streaming, even what we're doing right here with a GoPro is pretty awesome, that we're recording this with a GoPro. Who would have thought that, what is that, 3 inches maybe, 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches, that could do what it does, and then it could, you know, get posted right away. So behaviors have changed. Be where you're expected to be, because again, it's not what you personally think and what you personally do has nothing to do with it. It has to be that you're reacting and responding, and that you're really giving credence to something that already exists, something that's going on, something that whether you're ready for it or not, whether you've got heels dug in and you're like, I don't want to, I don't want to be that much out there. It's already happened. And if you are in business, and even if you're just in the family thing of corresponding, I had an older relative the longest time that's been saying, I don't want to get on Skype. I don't want to get on Skype. When we finally got her on Skype, she was like, this is so wonderful. I get to see you. I don't just get to hear your voice, but I'm seeing your face, and I'm seeing you react. And I was like, this is what I've been telling you. This is why you want to do this. So whether it's for personal pleasure or not, we are so lucky to live in this age. There are obviously security issues and privacy concerns and all of that stuff, but the positives far outweigh the negatives about being able to exchange information instantly, about being able to find out what's going on in Paris or any place where there's something happening that you want to be involved with because you may have family there or someone traveling. My son was studying abroad in Japan, and the whole time he was there, I was praying, please, no earthquakes. Please, you know, and God forbid if something happens that you have that access to find out what's going on from the citizen journalists that are out there, as well as CNN. So as a business owner, if you anticipate and understand what's already happened and is happening, then you're able to get on board and be one of the people that's, well, it's not early adopter, but you're adopting and adapting in ways that you should that are going to help your business. As I said, mobile's taking over. And if you don't know another live streaming thing that's very cool, it's called Blab. And it basically looks like the Hollywood Squares. You're able to invite a guest on, you talk about a topic, you schedule it, people decide that they're going to hop in or hop off if they want to watch it live. It also gets taped and it gets uploaded to YouTube so you don't lose it. You can repurpose that content, you can talk about it. And then you can also get, there's really 4 Hollywood Squares, so the top 2 people who are being interviewed appear on top, and then other people can request to hop on and talk to you. You can watch people's conversations in the thread. If you haven't discovered Blab, check it out. There's people talking about everything that you can think of, from business topics to personal pursuits and passions. And again, from a business perspective, it creates another media asset that you can leverage and that you can, again, shoot out through all your channels.
You know, I just want to make just 2 thoughts come to mind. This is really wonderful stuff, and this kind of instant communication is, I think, a mode of communicating. The thing that I think about from a societal view that gives me great pause is, like, you know, we talk about citizen journalists and things like that, and how things can be just instantly kind of messaged. But the thing is on the other hand, you know, very significant, you know, research in journalism, you know, we're kind of minimizing at the risk of, at our peril. And like one of them is like the Washington Post was just awarded the Pulitzer Prize because no one in our country, no the police department, no FBI was, you know, accounting for the number of deaths that were occurring by, you know, police shootings. No one was taking data to that. It took the the Washington Post a year plus to start digging up the information to answer that question. So the thing is like when we as a society put all our resources into just instant stuff, you know, at the expense of like, you know, media institutions, you know, like the Boston Globe and, you know, Spotlight and things like that, you know, then we're doing it at our peril if we don't have those, we de-emphasize those types of resources.
I don't believe it de-emphasizes them, it's an additional asset too. It's a different perspective from.
Yeah, I'll give you one point, okay, Vice, you know what Vice is? I mean, Vice is a modern kind of documentary show, it's targeted at young people. It's very interesting, it's very engaging, but the New York Times has assets of I think if I remember the right, like something like $1.5 billion. The New York Times, $1.5 billion. Vice is capitalized to $8 billion. Okay, which one has more gravitas? Which has more, content, more research? And say we're making choices in our industry where they're saying, well, Vice is going for this target market, with young people. That's where we're going to put our money. The New York Times, it's on its way out. We're only going to put this much money into it. I mean, in the future, if we have superficial reporting, in the future, and that's what's informing us as citizens, then we have a real lack of knowledge about things.
I think both have merit, and I think that real journalists are not in any way, shape, or form going to disappear. That in fact, the New York Times is embracing more of the citizen journalists that are out there as an additional asset pool. And of course, they're going to have the people that do the more in-depth reporting. And that, again, for our perspective, it gives us more to choose from, more to form and shape our opinions. Because before, we had a very narrow group of people that were dictating what we could hear, what we could see, what they would talk about, versus now we've got an unlimited amount of people that we can tap into. And again, we're going to form our own opinions, of course. But it's a good point that you bring up. And obviously, newspapers' budgets are shrinking because of the physical paper, especially because of a lot of things that are changing. But altogether, I think when pros and cons are weighed, I think that they're never going to be going away altogether. And as an asset pool of information, it's going to be more incorporated. And again, we're going to have more sources to help shape our opinions. Thank you so much.